Here's a really beautiful song from Joni Mitchell. Some of the shapes might be unfamiliar to you, especially if you haven't looked at open tunings before, but we are in open D with a capo on the 4th fret. So to start with, let me just give you the tuning notes. I've dropped my bottom string down a tone to D. That's now an octave below the 4th string, so it's D. 5th string is still A, 4th string is D as usual, and the 3rd string, which should be G, is an F sharp, so that's a semitone lower than usual. Then the 2nd string, which ought to be B, is a tone lower at A, and the top string is also a tone lower than it would normally be to D. So D, A, D, F sharp, A, and D. And altogether they make a lovely, rich, open 6-string D chord. And with the capo on the 4th fret, I guess really it's open F sharp. No one's going to call it that. It's open D with the capo on the 4th fret. Why the capo on the 4th fret? I guess that just suited Joni's voice back then. And of course it's a little bit high for me, but I'll do my best. In fact, there's just a small handful of chords for the entire song. We'll go through them as we come across them, but the key thing here is really the timing with the strumming. We've got 4 beats in the bar and we're simply strumming down, up, like this, but we frequently got accents on the offbeat that create syncopation, so we get this kind of thing. And to start with, we've got the intro, which is a single bar that repeats. We've got 4 of them, and it's like this. We've got our open D, then a thing I'm calling G over B, and off again. And that G over B comes on 3 and, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and off again on 4 and. So it's on for a beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so all together. And again. Rolls and flows, and we're into the verse. Okay, now the verse is an 8-bar sequence that repeats. The first 2 bars are the same as bars 5 and 6, more or less. So if we can crack those, we've pretty much got half of the verse. So let's look at that now. This G over B that we had in the intro, that goes up 2 frets to create D major 7. I mean, take the namings of these chords with a pinch of salt, but that's what I've got here. D major 7, down to our G over B, then our open chord. Rolls and flows off. I mean, it fits quite nicely under the fingers once you're used to the shapes. Then we get this thing. The 2nd finger comes up onto the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and I've got my 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the top string. That's an A7, and again, our open chord. Rolls and flows of angel hair. And right at the end of the 2nd bar, we get a swift G over B. Rolls and flows of angel hair. And we're into the next line. Okay, so. And it'll pay to memorize that. If you get this, rolls and flows of angel hair, under your fingers, so you don't have to think about it, that should really help you crack on with the song. Okay, the next line. We stay on our open D, ice cream, and now we get to our A7, but without the finger on the top string for a moment. We're going to call that A7 sus4. Ice cream castles, and then it comes on. Ice cream castles. Then this shape goes up 2 frets. This sounds like a lot, but we're nearly there. Ice cream castles in the air. So it builds, we eventually go up here and we come back down. Ice cream castles in the air. Okay, nearly there now. The third line is exactly the same as the first one. Feathered canyons everywhere. And again, feathered canyons everywhere. It's exactly the same as the first line of the verse. And now, I've looked at clouds that, just like the second line, I've looked at clouds that way. We get to our A7 sus4. I looked at clouds that way. And now we have a little single note line, which is 3rd fret of the 5th string, 2nd fret of the 5th string, open 5th string, and then we get a note on the bottom string. I think it's the 3rd fret, and then she kind of pulls it up. I guess it might be 2nd fret, and that would be a really big pull, but almost like a kind of bluegrassy twang. So, I've looked at clouds that way. And then we're into the second half of the verse, which is exactly the same as the first. Okay, 8 bars and then repeating. Here we go. Rose and flows with angel hair, and ice cream castles in the air, and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, and now they only block the sun. There rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, the clouds got in my way. And we're into the chorus. So the chorus is actually 9 bars. There's 8 bars and then there's a kind of lingering extra bar at the end before we go into the figure that's just like the intro before we kick off the next verse. The first 4 bars are really just the open D chord, and then this thing, our D chord up here, and then the A7, which is the same shape but 2 frets lower. So the first 4 bars we get are this. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, up and down, and still somehow. Right at the end of that, we catch a D major 7. I looked at clouds from both sides now, up and down, still somehow. It's cloud illusion I recall. And finally, I really don't know clouds 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 at all. And then we're going to be into the next verse. Okay, now, as we get into I really don't know cloud at all. That's what she does. I really don't know clouds. And then on the second beat, top string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 4th string, 2nd string, 5th string, all on the A sus4. And then in the next bar, a beat each on the 4th string, the 3rd string, the whole chord, and then the top string. I know it's a bit boring me calling it out this way, and you can see the tab, but that's really what's going on. I really don't know cloud at all. And so on. Okay, one final thing and then we're done. In the interlude, which is just like the intro, in the 2nd and 4th bars of that, because there are 4 bars altogether, we don't just have our G over B, we actually slide that up 2 frets to D major 7. So we get this for the first bar, and then the second bar. Okay, so altogether that's going to be. And then we're into the second verse. Okay, once through the intro, the 8-bar verse that repeats, into the chorus, and then the interlude to finish. like the sun. There's rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. And that's it.